Hey everyone. Okay, I did my homework for today. So I watched the first episode of Marie Kondo's new show on Netflix, and you'll have to forgive me for the shivering. I don't know if you saw my post yesterday, but our heater did not turn on like we had programmed it. So when we got back from our vacation yesterday, we came to a house that was 7 degrees Celsius. So slowly the whole home is warming up, but we're like staying bundled throughout the day. Anyways, okay, episode 1. I don't know if those of you who've watched this, I got tears, I got chills, like I felt all these emotions because it's this couple who have 2 toddlers, and the woman, it seems like maybe she's left her her work behind and is doing more stuff at home, and she just feels really overwhelmed, and the husband is really stressed and overwhelmed too because he wants things to be better. So Marie Kondo comes in and she helps them in cleaning out their home. Hey, Kate. So here are some things I want you, if you get to watch the episode again or for the first time, that I want you to be looking at. First of all, in the opening scenes before they start talking with the family, they're interviewing, I guess they're showing us what all the future episodes will be. One woman refers to letting go of things as like, I just don't want to dump it. And I realize a lot of times when we're decluttering, we think we're just like letting go of something is like dumping it, throwing it away, and we forget that sometimes it can go to a new home. Another thing that I wrote down is what did you notice about everyone when they started showing you sort of the scenes of people starting to declutter? How they appeared, how they interacted. For me, they just seemed lighter and laughing more and way more positive. I found that really interesting. Also, when they start talking about clutter, the different people were saying a lot of like, well, I don't know, and I'm not sure. And when we have clutter in our lives, physically, emotionally, mentally, we tend to be very unsure about ourselves and how we are feeling and what we are thinking because it's like we're in a fog. So I've noticed that with a few of the people saying like, I don't know, or just seeming uncertain about things. Then the couple, so the friend family, he says, or he or she says, our home is a constant struggle. And you know, the whole Chief Household Officer Academy from Stay-at-Home Mom to CHO and the Working Mom CHO program is so focused on us not seeing our home as a struggle anymore. And I wrote that down because our home is a constant struggle. It's something I feel like many times. There's this feeling of like, oh, this home, I just feel like I'm constantly fighting something that isn't really there to be fought with. And so I that rang true to me when Marie talks about model for your kids, those things that you want them to be doing later on. I thought that was really powerful too. The couple shared that they fight about laundry, and the husband said, it sounds so silly to talk about that, but it really frustrates me. It really makes me angry. And if you notice the interaction between the two, she didn't want the blame to be placed on herself. That yes, she has the time. Yes, she doesn't enjoy to fold clothes or do laundry, and so therefore they outsourced it, even though she did probably have the time to do it. But you could feel that sense of guilt and frustration and embarrassment. She put a wall up and sort of, I don't have time. It's too chaotic. I can't do this. Really pushed it away. So when you notice the two of them interact, really see what rings true to you when you have, it could be something other than laundry, something you don't really want to do, and if that impacts how you interact with your partner or other people in your life when you talk to them about it. Biggest fights, money and cleaning. That was the thing he said. And I think this is true. I remember when I was doing my training for couples counseling, we used to talk about money, sex, and there's something else. I think kids were like the 3 things that people fought about the most. But I really think cleaning and taking care of your living space is should be in the top 3. I don't think it's just money and sex and kids. I really do think our home impacts our relationship a lot. Hi, Genevieve. Okay. So we're talking about Marie Kondo's first episode. I just finished watching it. So, an unorganized room is annoying. I feel that way about an unorganized house too. But so often I'd rather just sit and be annoyed by it than put the work into it. Because if you watch the whole episode, you see it took like a month for them to clear out their whole home. But at the end of it, it was so worth it. And they even said as a couple, like, we enjoy each other more. We enjoy time with the kids more. And we are creating a better dynamic of the energy we want in our home. I just found that really, really powerful. So even though we're annoyed by something, if we're annoyed by other things in life, we probably change them. But our home, if it annoys us, or if our room annoys us, we don't always change it because we just don't want to put the effort into it, even though the outcome could be positive. And then if you haven't watched the episode, please do. She starts before they declutter, she basically sits in their home and thanks the home. And it brought me to tears. It was just this emotional, you could feel the energy of her just really being having a reverence and a respect for the things in that home, even though many of them were things that would be technically called clutter and be annoying. She wanted to come at the decluttering process with respect. And I thought that was powerful. How often we just want to let me just get rid of these things versus thank you, house, room, space, items for being a part of our lives. Now, I read her book several years ago, loved it, used it immediately. My husband and I completely cleaned out. Thankfully, we had a 2-bedroom apartment at the time, so it's super easy to do. But we've been talking about doing our house here again. And my husband is going to watch this episode. We're going to do it because it sparks that energy of wanting to go and declutter. But I want us to have a better reverence and respect for what we have, because that's something I want my kids to have, and just be grateful. So thanking the space versus being so annoyed and overwhelmed by it gives your mind a more motivated standpoint of why you're doing something, why you're decluttering. Let's see, we don't want to face the clutter many times because we're embarrassed by it. We feel the guilt when the wife puts all her clothes out onto the bed in front of her husband and Marie. And the translator, she's you can tell she wants to hide. She wants to get away. She doesn't want to look at all of these things that she has. And so she feels this sense of, she says, I feel guilty. There are people who don't have things, and I barely even know what's in my closet. So if we look at clutter and we immediately want to run from the embarrassment of how did I acquire all these things, then it's going to stop us from moving forward, because we don't like to feel negative things, so we tend to try to change that by avoiding it. And again, if there's something that's annoying you, if it's a problem, when we avoid it, we're probably avoiding other things in our lives too that we don't want to face because of embarrassment and guilt. So I thought that was really powerful as well. Our habits become our kids' habits. We know this, we see this, and how easily it can be shifted, how easily we can start to teach them positive habits and systems that they can be doing. I loved that the family started folding clothes together at the end. Now, is it always like that? Probably not. But that the wife even said, I'm okay having my kids be a part of the process. And so I would like to do that more. I tend to fold the clothes when the kids aren't around, but I think it would be better to do it with them. If you've read Marie Kondo's book, she talks about saving any box that you have or any little container, especially when you buy things and it comes in a container, so that you can possibly use those to be compartments for the items you have. And I started thinking about that in the greater scheme of life. So she presents these little boxes and she goes you can put your makeup in the boxes, you can put whatever into these boxes, so it creates a containment for the, not clutter, but the things that don't just stay in one place. So kitchen items, you open the drawer and there's all these different utensils, how to really contain them. And that's the same for our emotions and our thoughts. So often they feel like they're just kind of running amok all over our lives, and finding ways to contain them that are healthy so that we can take them out when we're ready and really face them and then put them back. And that's not put it in a suitcase and hide it in the back of your mind. It's compartmentalizing them so that they don't impact other areas of your life. So don't worry, we're going to get to later on what we're going to do to improve that. As they clean out the garage, they find their wedding video, their wedding DVD. And I just thought, wow, we hide the positive memories so often. Photos from when we first got together, photos from when their kids were babies. They're all in boxes, or they're somewhere, like ours are down in the cellar. Like, I don't look at those things. But the husband says, like, these are our positive memories and they're hidden away. And how that really shows how we view life right now. There are so many positives, but we don't look at them because all we see are the negatives, which is then reflected in our home. All the clutter we see, it's all the negatives, versus having photos up that we want to have, updated photos. We have photos of my husband's parents and my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, and it's probably 25 years old. They look so young, which is great. I love it. But I want an updated photo of my in-laws for my kids to be looking at. I want updated photos of my girls. I want updated photos of my family and me and my husband. On our above our television, we have like kind of, I guess you call it a mantle, I don't know. And it's a picture of us when we were dating, which is romantic, but I kind of feel like that makes us feel sort of stuck in like, oh, look at that time, versus look at us now. So how many positive memories are you hiding? Are you, because you're not being mindful of it, you're not updating to be positive memories now? We've talked about this before in the program. Designate a spot for everything. Everything has a home. Totally a KonMari method thing, but that is really important. When you get new toys for Christmas, where do those items go? And teaching your kids, okay, now we have these new items, where will their home be? Because so often we don't have that conversation, or we get new things and we don't have the conversation with ourselves. Where are we going to put things? And we end up leaving them out because we don't know where they're going to go. The couple at the end, they sort of reflecting, they said, we got lost in the moment. They got disconnected from the good because of the chaos in their home. I thought that was really powerful and important to kind of think about, like, we do get lost in the moment of things when there's just so many things around us. And they talked about having more free time once they had less things to be taken care of in their home, happier overall and at ease. And physically they looked brighter. I don't know if you guys noticed it. Not only was their interactions more like funny and light and playful, but physically their complexions looked brighter. And so overall I was just impacted by this, like totally teared up several times throughout the show because I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like decluttering, yes, but the impact emotionally and mentally of letting go of things, of being more grateful in our lives. I found that really, really powerful. So I'm going to keep watching the episodes. I'm going to keep reporting back to you guys. But I need to let you know, I am doing a little bit of this as some homework and support for some other books that I'm reading right now, because my hope is by January 15th to have my first Leaving the Decluttered Life Behind course. It's going to be 2 courses, but the first one is really going to be talking about what clutter really looks like in our lives, mentally, physically, emotionally, how it's impacting our positive connections, which is my actual company name, Positive Connections, meaning how it's impacting our relationships, how it impacts how we see our kids, how we see our partner, how we see our family members. And so, so that's my homework. I'm creating a big program. Well, it's going to be a course right now, and then another course, and then it'll become but it's going to be support for the chief household officers, because so often we can't break habits and we can't change the clutter solely because of what's going on in our minds, solely because of the emotional baggage we're still holding on to. So I love all these decluttering shows and books, but they're only getting to the, just get rid of stuff. Why can't you just get rid of stuff? And they don't look at what's going on inside of us that we may not want to face, that maybe we struggle with, or we decluttered and then the clutter came back. So how can we make really leaving the cluttered life behind part of who we are by really being able to face the things we're afraid to leave behind? So I'll keep you guys posted if I can make that happen by January 15th, but 15 was my mother and I's lucky number. And I spent 2 weeks cleaning out her home and decluttering her. Well, it wasn't decluttering, it was getting rid of everything, selling things, bringing stuff back here to Germany. And in that process, I realized so much about myself, my mother, my family, but the emotional and mental journey of having all those things. And she and I used to talk about it all the time. So it wasn't working on, sorry, just had a call come in. This is something we were going to be working on together, and that eventually I would turn into something. So for the last month and a half, I've been brainstorming this, and so I've got 9 days to make it happen. Okay, so that's all. Let me know your thoughts on the first episode of Marie Kondo's show on Netflix and what your thoughts are about my review. And if you are interested in learning more about the Leave the Cluttered Life Behind course, post below. Okay, and Genevieve and Kate, have great days. Okay, bye.